and the email address, lrushbaugh@eibnet.com. There's so much here to say about the Nikki Haley response. First time in my life I can remember the response to the State of the Union not going after the president, but rather going after the front runner of, in this case, her own party. I don't think I've ever seen that before. And it is quite telling to note where in the drive-by media and in the conservative media today she's being hailed. It's quite instructive, very informative, and illustrative to find out where it is, particularly on our side of the aisle here. She is being universally praised for giving one of the best responses to the State of the Union ever. I'll tell you what it was. You know, this is hard for me because I like Nikki Haley. I've never met her. I've never met her, but I've always admired her from afar. I thought she's done good jobs when she's spoken at Republican conventions. I mean, there's some questionable things. I mean, in the aftermath of that shooting in the church, South Carolina, the participating in the burning of whatever it was, the Confederate flag, a little bit questionable. But I mean, on balance, I haven't had a whole lot of problems with her. But boy, last night her response, I think it's proof, and it's an example of so much. For one thing, it's almost absolute proof of what I have been saying for the last couple of years now, that the Republican Party is trying to drive conservatives out of the party. But I think it's more than that. It's certainly that, but her speech last night sort of expanded the theme of who is and who isn't qualified to be a Republican. And while the Republican Party is still anti-conservative, and that isn't anything new, what we learned last night is that they are very comfortable identifying themselves as elites and members of a club, and that you can't get in just by being who you are and doing what you want to do as a Republican and pursuing what you believe in. Going after Trump last night the way she did, she wasn't going after Trump the same way the party goes after the conservative base. Well, all that aside, Trump has a coalition of supporters that is much broader based than the Republican Party has, and they're rejecting it. And I'm telling you, they're not rejecting it because they're embarrassed of their base. They're rejecting this because they don't like Trump. It's personal, it's clubby, it's cliquish, it's a whole bunch of reasons for it. And they've set up a firewall in South Carolina to stop Trump. And that's what Nikki Haley was doing last night. Nikki Haley is the establishment of the firewall in South Carolina, where the establishment's going to put the brakes on and bring all this Trump stuff to a screeching halt. The next thing you can do, with her universal praise here, and you'll hear from where it's coming as the program unfolds before your very eyes. What's next is for Nikki Haley to endorse somebody. Rubio, whatever's going on here with Jeb, could be Jeb, but she's going to endorse somebody that comes from the establishment wing. It's part of erecting the firewall and putting it into place in South Carolina to take care of whatever happens and mitigate whatever happens in Iowa and New Hampshire. And I don't think she realizes that she's actually damaged her VP chances to an extent. I'll explain all this as the program unfolds before your very eyes and ears.